Today I've kind of, well, the topic's a doozy. It will definitely upset some people, but I'm okay with that because it usually upsets the right people. So that's a sign that I'm doing the right thing. This was a Instagram story that was screen capped and sent to me by multiple people, and the story was forwarded to me. So anyway, I think it's worth a video just to talk about it because I don't know, people found it interesting anyway. So the person is kind of irrelevant, but just here's the post, the thought process. I'm convinced trainers or instructors that are resistant to teaching hit factor math are simply unable to due to not understanding it themselves. So, the question is, why would you or would you not teach this in class? And kind of who's it for and what is it? So, a hit factor for non-USPSA people is a calculation you do, which is points divided by time, and it gives you a number of how many points you're earning per second. So kind of like damage per second for people that play video games. So it is an important thing to understand about USPSA, but I don't think people need to go into the details that they do or the time that they spend on it. So let me explain a bit. I've seen some classes and talked to people that have been in classes where there's a conversation saying, what do I think the hit factor is going to be on this stage? It's like, I think it's going to be an 8. Okay. So to get that 8, what does my time need to be? And if I have this time, how many points can I drop to get the hit factor I want? So I've seen conversations saying, um, I only allowed myself to shoot 3 Charlies on this stage. And I obtained my goal. Well, of course, after the stage is over and you've done it, of course, it's easy to say, I plan to only shoot 3 Charlies and I did it, and then have like a conversation or a talk about how you really plan this out or you crunch the numbers. However, you don't see people posting this a selfie on the stage saying, I'm getting ready to shoot this stage. I think the hit factor is this number. I'm going to allow myself three Charlies, and then holding themselves to that and posting online for everyone to see. You just don't see it happen, of course, because after the story's over, or after the match is over, the stage is over, it's easy to say it was all part of the plan or that you did the math or whatever. But truth be told, I don't think most people are capable of making those decisions just in real time. Like I said, you look at the targets, you're like, hey, I'm going to shoot 3 Charlies for this stage. That's how many points will be acceptable for me to be down. I'm going to shoot a Charlie on this one. I'll allow myself one on this one, and that one back there, I'll allow myself a Charlie on that one. It just doesn't work that way. For people, you want to be fast and accurate. You're going to do the best you can. For most people, it'll be a genuine attempt to get all the A's, but not so deliberate that you actually get them all. Because most people have a few Charlies along the way, or points down, or little oopsies that happen. So I guess the problem with that I see is that I think the people that really get drawn to this are the people that it's not really for. For example, not to be unkind, if you're in B, C class, even A class, the advice I would give is you just want to be fast and accurate. You want to hit the targets as best you can in the shortest amount of time, of course, but it's a juggling act of a lot of things. For some people, it's their emotions and discipline, because when the timer goes off, you want to go fast, you want to look cool for Instagram, you want to have a good time. Sometimes people lack being disciplined, and they end up shooting more points down than they intend to, or having misses, or kind of just squirting bullets towards the target, or hanging hits somewhere on the targets, but not always finding the middle, just because it's tough to do. You get amped up, you want to do well. The flip side to that is oftentimes people will not want to miss, or be afraid of missing, or not wanting to get a penalty, and they end up over aiming a while, where the gun's pointing at the target, the sights are where they need to be, but kind of delay or over confirming before shooting the shot. It happens. Maybe you accidentally stare at the sight a little bit, or you watch the sight recoiling. Like a bunch of things happen. It's just, you don't want it to, but sometimes it's out of your control. So when you're shooting a stage, again, for that kind of middle skill level, I'll say A, B, and C class, the advice is just you do the very best you can. Try to shoot penalties. Try to get the most A's you can. Try to not go off the rails in either way, in the fact that you're being too slow and deliberate, or undisciplined and having misses all over the place. But it's a juggling act, and you learn as you go and you try to get better and that kind of thing. So the people I don't think it's for, or why I don't think it's for that group, is you just have so much to manage. I would suggest this kind of thing in math is only for the very top percentage, maybe 1 or 2% of USPSA shooters. Like the people that are in contention to win a major match or a nationals. For those people, yeah, I understand the argument or would see why it matters. Christian Seiler happens to be a good friend of mine. I think the podcast, we actually talked about this in a podcast that was not dropped that long ago. If you don't listen, my podcast is called Training Group Live. You can find it on any podcast format you like. But anyway, Christian's a good friend. For people not familiar, a very dominant competitive shooter. I just asked him the question like, hey, who do you think this is for? Who do you think it's not for? And Christian sees things the same way I do, that for really all but the people in contention to win the match, it's kind of just bandwidth spent on something that's not the most helpful for you. Because let's say you have 100% capacity, you'd be better spending that capacity working on your fundamentals, being able to grip the gun properly, shoot the gun straight, move it between the targets, all those kind of things, than just, again, planning on having 3 Charlies on the stage and these are the stages or these are the targets I'm going to have the Charlies on. So in a class setting, I don't do that at all, just because I only have people normally for 2 days, and I think it's, like, frankly, a waste of time to do that because of how much time it eats up. Normally it'd be getting out like a target or using a piece of paper. It's like, okay, this was your time. This was your points down you had, your hit factor. Okay, you got a 6. Now we repatch it and have the next person shoot while everyone in class waits. The next person shoots. It's like, okay, this person got a 9. Now what was different? Oh, their time were different. Their points were different. And so you go through that for the whole class for rotation. That eats up an hour or 2 of class time where you could have been doing something, in my opinion, far more productive. And then when you look at those numbers, again, if you're in B or C class, you look at those numbers, the person you are that day is whatever skills you brought with you. I'll say all B and C class shooters are not able to make a change their demeanor or habits like that on the fly. On a big scale, just looking at hit factor, you could say, yeah, it's a pretty high hit factor. The targets are pretty close. I'm going to be okay with some Charlies, some points down, because the hit factor is so high and the targets are so close. On the flip side to that, it's a lower number. There's more partials. The target's farther away. I might take a little bit more time to get the alphas because it's a lower hit factor, and I've done the math to know that that's more beneficial. But that's really the extent of math I would suggest for most people. I just don't think it's a productive use of people's time. And I've seen people go kind of down that rabbit hole, and it's normally the people that, in my brain, would be better spent just spending the time working on fundamentals, being being fast and accurate. And if I only have people in class for a few days, there's already so much information I want to relay that how to do math or try to teach people how to make like decisions on what target you're shooting points down or you're accepting misses on is just not something I'm into. Plus, open enrollment classes, I have a fair amount of people that are not interested even remotely in practical shooting, but maybe use the gun for work, or they're just interested in concealed carry, or general like being proficient with a firearm that doesn't apply to USPSA anyway. So those people wouldn't be interested, and I'd lose their attention anyway. So that's my 2 cents on kind of why I don't talk about hit factor math in classes at all, and why I don't think it's a productive use of anyone's time, all but the top maybe 1 or 2%, the people that are there to win the match, like overall. But anyway, I'm curious what you think. If you think I'm way off base and think even at B or a C class level, you should be considering these things and really studying it or working on your training, I'm interested to hear what you think. Or if you agree with me and think it's okay to have a broad knowledge of, but you'd rather spend your time on just training, curious about that too. So anyway, let me know in the comments what you think. I'm curious about this one. Appreciate you guys watching. Have a good day.